Hello, everybody. This episode on individual rights and what government does to violate those individual rights has to do with tariffs. I call them the thief tax. And the reason I call them that is because basically it is government stealing money from you and me and from businesses and putting it under the rubric of punishing foreign countries or foreign companies. But the people who have to pay for tariffs and higher taxes is me and you and every other citizen of the world. Tariffs this year are going to cost us consumers $3 trillion around the world. And governments have been doing this for hundreds of years. But just as an example of, before I get into how it violates rights and what tariffs are and how they hurt the marketplace, let me just tell you some of the things that you and I are paying higher prices on because of tariffs. And in fact, this is because of Trump's tariffs. Trump is not unlike any other president in this country or any other foreign leader. He does the same, he commits the same thief taxes as everybody else. And he tries to pretend that he's doing it to save American consumers, save American businesses, and to punish China and other countries like Canada. But it's really about bringing in money for the government, $22 billion last year for the U.S. from China alone. But we're the ones who paid that, not China. So I'll talk about that in a second. But here are some things, just a few things that we're paying higher prices on because of Trump's taxes. And Trump has done a lot of good things. I'm not just going off on him. I'm just going off on this is what's currently happening. So we're paying higher consumer costs coming straight out of our pockets because of what Trump did on these things: lamps, air conditioners, vacuums, hair clippers, shampoo, bath salts, handbags, raincoats, knitted hats, baseball gloves, headgear, bicycles, tuna, halibut, salmon, pears, dog leashes, collars, harnesses, toilet paper, and tobacco, among hundreds of other things, phones, purses, etc. So this is how tariffs work. A country, for whatever reason, what Trump says about China is that they subsidize their own companies and putting their government money into them, so that makes their products easier to make. And other reasons are that they have allegedly cheap labor. They used to, they still do a little bit, but so what? And that they restrict some of our stuff coming into their country, and that they put tariffs on some of our stuff coming into their country. So Trump says, well, we're going to get back at them for doing that. We're going to put $250 billion of tariffs on their products. So what ends up happening is you have a dog eat dog and everybody punishing everybody else. But the people who really get punished are you and me and businesses. Businesses, as I said in the previous episode, are privately owned entities. So these private people, their rights that they have to their body and their property and their money is carried over to their businesses. It's supposed to be. So governments are not allowed, they shouldn't be allowed, to have anything to say about businesses or their products prices or their employment. The businesses should be free to do whatever they want, whether it's not make a cake for a heterosexual or homosexual couple, not make a cake for a white person or a black person or a brown person or a red person. They have that right. Now, that doesn't mean what they're doing is good or correct or right, but we have a right to be wrong. I have a right to not allow somebody on my property if I want to. I mean, that right extends over to business. I have a right not to let somebody into my business if I don't like the way they're dressed. A lot of businesses have that sign up that says no shirt, no shoes, no service. Well, they've got a right to do that. They've got a right. Somebody walks in with bare feet, they've got a right to say, hey, we're not going to feed you. So that extends to everything with what a business does. As long as it's honoring your rights to walk away, you got to honor their right to say walk away. So the governments don't understand this, so they impose regulations, as I said in the previous episode, which are a violation of individual rights of business owners, including those who have lemonade stands or those who operate multi-billion-dollar corporations. And tariffs are the same thing. When a country imposes tariffs on foreign companies' goods, then let's say it's 10%, then what they're doing is they're being thieves. They're taking 10% off the top from these companies in these foreign countries. But here's something that a lot of Americans don't understand, a lot of people around the world don't understand. That 10% isn't actually paid by that foreign country or even those foreign companies. It's paid by the company in America, let's say Costco, who imports those goods. So there are customs agents at the 350 plus ports of entry in the U.S. who are sitting there waiting for these ships and airplanes to unload, and then they document and they charge Costco and other companies in America that 10%. So a $100 product now becomes $110 to Costco. So it raises the price of Costco doing business on their products. And the only way Costco and other companies can salvage this kind of thievery by Trump, previous presidents, and other countries' leaders is to actually charge more. They've got to charge more. They're paying more. So they've got to charge you and me more. So tariffs cost us the money. We're the ones also whose rights are getting violated because now our money basically is not entirely ours. We've got to, if we want things for our lives, to make our lives better, we've got to pay more for it. So that's that's Trump stealing money from us. There's no way around this. Tariffs are theft. And yet it's been going on for centuries. Politicians know this. Economists know this. A lot of academia know this. You and I need to know this. That's what they are. So they're violating the rights of these foreign companies, our companies here in America, to do free business, free market business, and they're violating our rights to keep more of our money, the consumers, us. So tariffs are a thief tax. That's what they are. It's $3 trillion of thief taxes every year. It's no different. If it costs companies in America money because now they can't sell as many of their goods because there's a higher price, that's no different from a bunch of armed robbers breaking a window at a store overnight and stealing 10% of their goods. The value of that company has now just declined 10%. It's no difference. It's thief. It's thievery. It's robbery. So here's some other tangential things that happen with tariffs as well. Tariffs basically ruined the steel industry in Pennsylvania back in the 70s and 80s when presidents put high tariffs on cheap foreign steel and tried to save the industry in Pennsylvania, the Pittsburgh industry, steel industry, and others. But what ended up happening was these industries, it helped them for a while, I guess you could say, because their steel was no longer so expensive, relatively speaking. But what it does is it causes U.S. corporations to get lazy. If they know that their competitors around the world are going to have tariffs on their products and their products are going to cost more, they have no incentive to be efficient and have cheap products. So what ends up happening in virtually every case is the companies in America, automakers, steel industry, even phone makers, couch makers, etc., they end up getting a little bit lazy and they end up charging a little bit more for their products because these products from around the world are higher priced because of thief taxes, tariffs. So it causes laziness here at home. That ends up costing us more because the homemade products now are rising in prices because of the tariffs, the thief taxes. So it causes laziness and productivity to go down. They're just bad all around. So that's tariffs, and the way they violate rights is what I was alluding to earlier, is the marketplace is supposed to be free from government intrusion. There should be a separation of government and capitalism like there is a separation of government and church. It should be the exact same separation. The government has no business in business, has no business telling business what to do, or charging business, taxing business, thieving business. So these property owners who own businesses, their rights are being violated, and then of course it trickles down to you and me, and our rights end up getting violated also. We need to put an end to tariffs. We need to speak out and have the government stop these thief taxes so that you and I can start paying what we're supposed to be paying for products, which is just a free marketplace price. And if that price isn't good enough, we'll go elsewhere. That's the way it's supposed to be. Freedom for you and me, and freedom for businesses.